Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Now that we've got most of the components drawn and constructed for the RM74, what I'm going to start to do is start to go through the details, the symmetrical details, adding those in and just trying to bring the model to the next level. My concern with going through them in detail in each part at the beginning and then working our way through the whole model as separate was, as we found on that last episode with the roof, the conveyor belt was catching up here. Which was causing a little bit of an issue there. So things had to change. And if you detailed all the parts prior to that and we'd found something doesn't quite fit, then we'd have been, trying to pull the whole model apart to try and make it look how it should do. So I'd rather have gone through in those stages, and at least we've got to a point now where most of it looks all right. I'm pretty happy with the overall general shape. There's a couple of things I've noticed that maybe not quite right, and that maybe this is a little bit wide in here, but I don't think it stands out too much. And by the time we've added in, there's like a little unit on the end here, this can come out a little bit further. It will look a little bit narrower than it actually is on the model here. I think maybe the chassis here would have been dug in a little bit more, but in general, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's representative. We've got the strength that we need on the models, rather than if we'd done it to scale, we might have had issues with that. So yeah, really, it's just a case now of let's go through, start adding these symmetrical details, and it really making the model start to look an impressive piece of kit. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the cab front really. So looking on the cab front, depend on the age of the unit you're looking at, depends on what's on there. Now obviously I'm modelling late 80s, early 90s, so I need to be looking at some of the details from this part, making sure that I'm using the correct ones. So see, on this you've got a headlight and a little horn front, but if you go to one of the more modern ones, like this, you've also got ladders and handrails on the front you need to add on. As I say, I don't do the modern ones, so this is not a part that interests me. If you were doing this, I would create let's do the handrail on side here. I'd create an offset plane to start with, so drag an offset plane in line, draw a line both ways, and then use that pipe tool we've done previously. Same with these ones. Come across, draw the offset plane, draw a pipe, and then draw the steps horizontal to that pipe afterwards. So yeah, I'm going to get started on the lights, and as you can see, they're vertical, they're not level with the bodywork. So we'll create a offset plane. We're going to make sure we're on the cab first of all. So select the cab. Let's get rid of the mirror first, and then select the cab. So we've got the radio button off for the cab. I'm going to use the offset plane, and I'm going to offset from the buffer beam there. I'm just going to drag it out enough so that it's out front. I will move this back in a minute once I know exactly where the headlight's going to be. So we use the drawing, turn it face on, create a sketch on that offset plane, and then we're going to draw a rectangle covering for the light. So I'm going to go for, I think, 1.7 square. And define height from the top of the buffer beam, so that's 2.3, and relative position to the end there, 2.3 as well. Okay, so now we can extrude this back. I'm only going to come back a millimetre. Click on OK, and then we can come back and edit this feature to bring this back slightly. There we go. Come all the way through, yes it has. So we're going to edit that extrusion now. So let's go maybe minus 0.4. You don't want to go all the way through, but we need to be tucked in. It's okay to me, and we'll tell it to join the cab, make sure we've only got the one body in there. Okay, and then on there we need to have circular, actually we need to come out a little bit, so let's cut the top. So edit that feature, and we're just going to come distance from there 2. That's too far. So 1.1. Yeah, it's just sticking out the top there ever so slightly, so that's fine there. The extrusion needs to go back into the model a little bit more to cover up for that gap. So we go 0.6, make sure it joins, make sure it hasn't come through the other side, looking through the window, yeah, looks good. Oops, let's rotate it. And we'll draw the circle for the headlight itself on there. So again, drawing a sketch on the front. Find the midpoint. How wide the headlights come. So it doesn't go all the way to the edges. So let's go make 1.5. And then we can extrude this forward, say 0.3. And then maybe we want to fillet the edge off. See if we can do something different with this fillet. Variable. 0.75. So what that's doing is making more of a rounded piece. So 0.25 and that one 0.75. So 0.1, 0.75, and then 0.25. And it's giving us more of a rounded shape to it. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is we're going to drag in this door handle, or we're going to use this, draw this door handle on. Now you could go and draw that all completely from fresh, but if you've been following the videos, you'll know that we did the similar thing on the Cowan Shield in 71 ton, sorry, it's Cowan Shield on 30 ton crane. So all the details should be in there. What I would suggest is, other than the dimension that constrains it to the door itself, if you drag all the constraints in back close, and then what we'll do, if we just drag across top left to bottom right corner, that selects everything within that box. So we've got all the sketch dimensions, the geometry all copied there, or selected. We can then just copy it, bring it into the RM74, create a sketch on that door, and then tell it to paste, and then that will place it, or place all the sketch into the file, and then we can just zoom in and orientate this where we need it to be. So looking at this, we've got the door handles horizontal here. The door handle on the model slightly offset, it's diagonal on this one, so we can select to rotate it. Yeah, if we go, I think it's 65 degrees rotation on there. Okay, position of that door handle should be in line with the edge of the window, relatively close to it, so in that position there. And then we can lock this in place. Once you've copied it in, click OK, and just find a point, dimension it to the edge. So let's go 0.6. And I've used the point at the bottom of the centre line there. We do the same thing, come up to that point now on the door. We'll tell that to be 1.6 from that point. Oops, that's moved some stuff around. That moved this, we don't like that. So let's just double click on that. Let's leave it wherever it places it. So I'm not going to round that up because it moves stuff within here. Let's dimension again from that point up to that point, and we'll just leave it wherever it places it now. Okay, and then what we need to do is we're going to select all the parts except for the door handle itself. So it's all of the elliptical parts here, and then extrude those back into the door. I'm going to cut maybe maybe 0.2 cut, and then we've got the door handle drawn. Okay, I know that's a bit of a cheat way, and some of you may not have copied through the CAD 71 crane, but it's the quickest and easiest way, and if you have followed the series, it makes the most sense to do that. Essentially what we've got is a rectangle, some lines, tangent. Essentially we draw a triangle basically, tangent off the top and bottom corners, and then we put tangent curves in and draw a rectangle in the middle for the handle itself. But it's a nice easy little copy and cheat way. Okay, so let's have a look now on the side of the engine compartment here. So we're going to need to look at both sides. We've got 1, 2, 3, gap, 4, 5, small panel. On this side we've got 1, 2, 3, gap, 4, 5, small panel. So do we have it symmetrical? No, we don't, because we've got 3 and 2. Oh yeah, we do, 3 and 2. So yes, it is symmetrical. So we can draw these panels on. So create a sketch on the side here. Let's look at the height of them. So they're going to be slightly above the foot plate here, and then pretty much to the edge. Are they on the sketch? They are, but unfortunately they're not quite lined up in the right place. So what we'll do is we'll start with this panel first. Dimension it. So we'll go for 3mm wide, 7.4 tall, distance from there 1.13, and height from underframe 1.65. Okay, so let's have a look. That one's not a very good picture. Comparing that, it looks like it's probably not far off. So we've got one panel, and we've got another one there. So the distance between them, again, that's not the best one for showing that. Okay, so I'm going to go for, let's bring that to 0.8 between them. I think we're going to actually make things wider, so let's go 3.1 width. Let's change this to 3.1 on the width. Height from there to the underframe 0.6. Overall height 9.35. Okay, let's finish that sketch. What we'll do is we'll extrude this forwards 0.1, 0.2. Let's get that sketch back on. And we'll extrude that to the same height as that. Then we can pattern these. So we're going to pattern that faces and features. So selecting that panel, direction horizontal, we need 2 of them. So do that, and then we'll pattern it again. So original feature, direction horizontal. Let's do 2 of them, that's in that position there. And then we're going to pattern that pattern. Sorry if it gets confused now, we'll do 3 of those. Let's just make that say 7.2. 3, 7.4. And we'll go 7.5. Let's compare them. we can maybe make these a little wider. On their width. I think that looks okay actually. So that's those door panels. So it doesn't look like there's any handles or anything on them, and there doesn't look like there's, the hinges are tiny. I don't think they're going to be worth drawing. They're not really going to be printable. This sort of exhaust type thing here, it's not on the other side, so we can't draw that. Let's see if we've got a clearer picture of the other side, the rivets and things like that. We've got all these rivets on this side here. They do look like they're symmetrical. There's some rivets here, so yeah, there is definitely some symmetrical rivets there, and that exhaust thing's up here on this side. So let's get these rivets in position. So we've got 4 and 4 and then 2. So again, drawing a sketch on the side, circle up here, 0.3 diameter. I'm going to do distance from the top of the panel there as 1.06, and from the edge 0.7. Select the profile, extrude, we do the normal rivet size, 0.15 height, fillet, we need that to be constant, and then we fillet it to 0.15, that rounds the bit off, and then we can pattern, select the 2 features, direction, horizontal, we're going to go 2 across, 0.6, and 2 up, 0.6 to make that square. Unfortunately, we can't just copy these down unless we create them into separate bodies. So I'm just going to create a sketch. It's just as easy to do that. So same principle. Looking at the position of these, they're ever so slightly lower, and they're in the left-hand side of this door panel. So I'm going to put it maybe at that position there. Might have to move it ever so slightly more to the left, and define height 0.8 and distance from the edge 0.7. And same principle. Let's zoom in, select that profile. Why is that not there? Why is it doing the whole thing? We don't want to do that. Try again, so we're going a bit screwy there. Right, there we go. Extrude 0.15 and fill it off the top corner again. 0.15. Okay, let's pattern these into a square. So select the feature and the extrusion. Direction will come across. Same 0.6 across, we only need 2 of them. And 0.6 up, and again we need 2 of them, make that square. Okay, so that's those rivets drawn. Okay, so I think that's all symmetrical parts on the CAD here. So I'm going to leave this episode at this point, and hopefully you're all able to get to the same point in your own models. Thanks for watching.